Just so you guys know, there is an interactive portion to this. So, you know, at your tables, get with people. You don't have to be besties, but get together. Some sort of way to take notes. It could be on your computer, write it down, whatever you like. But there will, just forewarn you, there will be an interactive segment to this. It'll be fun though. Don't worry. The speaker notes here say engage the audience. So, I'm just following directions.
Are there speaker directions?
Yeah, there's speaker directions. Told me to get some water. I got some water. Okay. Keep water handy.
It's always good to be reminded of.
Yeah. They need to add on here, don't lock your knees. They need to add that. I know that by now, but just in case people don't know, they need to add that. Yeah, I was in band in middle school. That's where I learned that.
I was a color. Yeah, I was not musically inclined. I tried so hard.
I used to be really good at the clarinet. Yeah, I used to play clarinet. I wanted to play the saxophone, but I think they were trying to oh, girls play clarinet, boys play saxophone. I'm like, they were like, it'd be easy to transition into. I'm like, sir, I'm not made of money. These instruments are expensive. What do you mean transition from clarinet to saxophone? But
Small town. We did not have enough boy participation to say
Oh.
what a girl could or couldn't.
yeah, no, it was lots of. It was a very diverse group where I grew up. So we had representation in all areas.
It was more like boys play football.
Well, then I also played sports. So I played soccer from the time I was 6 till I was about 16. And in between that, I played basketball, which I was trash at basketball. I know, but at the time I was in middle school, so we were all little. You know what I mean? And then I was taller than the boys because the boys hadn't hit their growth spurts yet, and so I was kind of tall for a sixth grader, but trash at basketball. Tragic. So if you lock your knees for a long time, it could restrict blood flow, and you could pass out.
Which happened in a band picture one day.
Yeah. So if you're ever standing somewhere for a long time, don't lock your knees. Just kind of shuffle maybe.
I was in restaurants for a long time, so I guess I didn't lock my knees. I learned not to or something.
Yeah, maybe it's just instinctually. But sometimes people, if you're especially if you're presenting and you kind of nervous and you're just standing stiff, that could be bad. Well, you did great. Now, I promise you, no one.
I had never heard that it could make you pass out. It was just it just hurts if you do that. Just don't do it.
Have you ever seen the videos where people start to sway at a wedding?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're up in the front and.
To come down the aisle, and next thing you know,
And just fall out. Yeah.
Actually, that's probably what happened to me at work that one time. Now that I think about it, I was taking back when I worked at Taco Bell. I was just taking orders. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground. People are looking at me.
OMG! Oh my God. That is terrifying. Yeah, don't lock your knees. If you get anything else from my talk today, do not lock your knees. All right. It doesn't. Do you want to end up going viral for passing out? Few more minutes, y'all. We'll get going right at 1:30. Has everyone been enjoying DrupalCon this year? I'm also on the steering committee, so if you have any notes, please direct them to me, I suppose. Or anybody that you see with one of these burgundy looking, very inaccessible ribbons. I was not a part of the ribbon. That wasn't me. I was about to say that was not responsible for the ribbons. But if you see anybody with this, let them know your thoughts and how we can improve next year. This year was the first time we had a community-led steering committee to plan DrupalCon. So we would love notes, love feedback about how we can improve it next year. Okay. All right. A few more minutes, y'all.
The only thing I didn't like about last night was where were all the where were the chairs? Where was the chairs last night?
Where?
At the Aquia party.
Oh, yeah, see now. I have no control over that. That's Aquia.
I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they sponsored that. But that place was cool. I'm local. I live here in Atlanta, and I've never even been to that place. Like every time I go to that side of town, it looks totally different, and I just feel like I'm so out of the loop now. Like I'm not cool anymore. It's a hard realization.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I just feel so washed. I'm like I haven't reached that level. Have I reached that level yet? Okay, I appreciate it. My kids think I'm cool, so that's all that matters.
My stepson's 20. That's why he's my our kids think he's cool because they're still under 10.
Yeah, they still think I still have that God complex over them right now. So they think everything I do is cool. All right.
Yeah, there it is. It's faded. There it is.
See, I don't even want to think about it fading. Oh. Hope they think I'm cool forever. All right, we'll get going here. A few more seconds. I'm just trying to be. I'm following the speaker notes. Yeah. All right. Hello. We packing it out. I really appreciate y'all coming. There's so many sessions at the same time. That's my note.
Yes.
It's way too many sessions.
So many that are, well, I'll say that's interesting from my area.
Yeah.
My area is small.
Yeah.
I'm in marketing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
how do I?
Yeah. And if you notice on the keynote stage earlier, we talked about having more tracks
Yes.
and broadening the tracks, and hopefully that will lead us back to, I guess, pre-COVID times. I've only ever attended DrupalCon post-COVID, but I was told that it was 3 days of sessions and 1 day of contribution in a day. So it was 5 days, and so maybe that'll lead us back to that. All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. I know it was hard after that soul food they served at lunch. I'm like, how are y'all gonna give people collard greens and then ask them to come to my session? I'm ready to take a nap. But thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to talk about developing the product management practice in government, and that's something that is kind of new, or at least it was a little newer to the space when we started thinking of our services as products. The slideshow I have here, the deck, I will send it to you if you like after this, if you connect with me on LinkedIn. But they're really just pretty and they're good for you to take pictures of. But what I want you to do is listen to me just ramble on and talk about, to go on a journey with me and how my team transformed our way of thinking about the services that we offered our constituents here in Georgia. So with that, we'll get started. So here's a little bit of the agenda. We're gonna, a little introduction, let you know why you're here, who I am. GovHub is a product, so talk about what GovHub is and how we shifted our mindset to thinking of it as a product. We're gonna touch on agile product development. I know you guys are very familiar with agile at this point, but we're just gonna talk about like how my team does it and what we do to maximize each of our sprints. Talk about constituent-driven roadmaps. I think there was another talk yesterday that I attended about creating roadmaps. And this will just be kind of like a very specific way to create your roadmap and our interactive activity that I mentioned before. So yes, you will be talking to your friends that you're sitting with. It's okay. We're gonna get to know each other. And Drupal for the win. Why Drupal has been so monumental in allowing us to change our mindset in this way, and how it has addressed our very specific needs in the government space. And then we'll just have a little quick Q&A. You know, if you want to talk or share your insights, we'll have that time as well. So again, you know, this session is going to explore how GovHub, our Drupal powered government web solution, evolved our team's approach from a traditional project management type mindset to a product mindset. And we're going to talk about, like I said, insights into agile product development, constituent-driven roadmaps, and how Drupal flexibility enables us to deliver the maximum value possible. But again, I'm really going to tell a story about our team and how we got there. So, quick overview. Today, we're going to examine my team at the Georgia Technology Authority and how our product, GovHub, shifted our mindset to a product development mindset. I'm Jasmine Epps. I am the product owner for GovHub. GovHub is a Drupal-based web platform solution for our state agencies. We host about 90 state agencies right now, from Department of Labor, Department of Revenue, Department of Public Services, you name it, they are on GovHub. And in the last year, thank you, Jenna, for this stat the other day, we saw about 46 million visitors to our GovHub platform. So constituents really enjoy interacting with the government through GovHub. And before it was called GovHub, though, and you're going to hear me refer to it this way a lot throughout my presentation, we just called it the platform. We didn't really have any branding for it. We didn't really have like a strategic plan for it. We thought, you know, we are a government mandated service. Like, we exist because the governor said we need to exist. We need to exist to offer state agencies somewhere to go for their technology solutions. So that is why the Georgia Technology Authority exists, and we figured, you know, we have to exist, so they, you know, we're just gonna have things for them, and they have to come to us. They don't have to come to us, I will say that, but it would behoove them to. You know, we take care of all of the things that, you know, agencies struggle with, and we take the guesswork out of that for them. But we just referred to what we offered, this Drupal platform, as the platform. But we had an opportunity to change our mindset when we had to migrate from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8. And this was back in 2018. So we were on it, okay? We were not one of those folks where they had to extend the end of life for. But yeah, so that's just a little bit of background there. But joining the team 10 years ago, I was a QA analyst. So I was more in the weeds and less a part of the strategic vision of GovHub at the time and what we were trying to do. But what I had a front seat to was the power of well-formulated planning, the benefits of building an MVP and prioritizing feature development, and how thoughtful execution of such a huge undertaking. It was huge. We were migrating content it was about 80 sites at that time. The whole content model and everything was changing between Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. And so we were like, let's not just do a lift and shift, you know? Let's just not move everything over and move all the trash into the new house. You know, let's take an opportunity to, you know, purge, get rid of things, you know, maybe reimagine how we want to lay out this living room, or, you know, get some, interior design. I'm currently getting my interior design degree from Pinterest right now. So, you know, and I took that opportunity when I moved into my new house to be like, I'm going to put my design skills to use. So, you know, we really wanted to, you know, take this undertaking as an opportunity to consider how our internal team will fare, not only consider how our internal team will fare in this evolutionary thought process, but how our customers and our constituents view GTA and the value that we provide. So it was a real lesson in developing the product mindset and the practice, and that's something that was not in play, I guess, as much in the government space. Like I said, we just, a lot of times in government, you put a thing out there and you don't touch it or improve on it for years, and then we'll get into all the effects of that later. But if you worked in the government space, and if you're in the private sector and you had government clients, you probably had to be onboarded to some insanely old system, or you're interfacing with websites and stuff that haven't been updated in a decade, and that's how we as government viewed a lot of the services we put out. There was no iteration, there was no trying to learn from the constituents or anything like that about how we can make things better. So what I would like for you to leave here with today are ways that you can transition from a project mindset to a product mindset. How you can apply agile development strategies in lean teams. So when I joined this team, it was like 6 of us. I don't know. It was a very lean team, but our team grew because of this strategy, or of this mindset. The best practices for prioritizing features based on constituent needs. So again, a lot of times you get with these government agencies, they have a lot of opinions about what should be going on with their website or their services, but a lot of times the constituent needs can be left out of that conversation or deprioritized. So we're going to talk about that, and then how Drupal's capabilities solve common government web challenges. Drupal is ready to go to solve a lot of the problems that we experience in government. All right. So what is the product mindset? Well, it focuses on delivering value to users and continuously improving a product based on feedback, data, and market needs. So it involves thinking beyond, like I've mentioned before, just simply checking tasks off of a task list. It involves, considering the long-term success and the scalability and the usability of a product, okay? So the project mindset is kind of just like, here's what we want to do. But there's no, reason behind a lot of times why you want to do that thing. It's just like, I went to a conference, I saw someone talking about it. We need that. We need that in our product today. But do our constituents want it? Are we solutioning in search of a problem, which is a lot of times what we do in government. But the user, or the product mindset is very user-centric. It involves user-centric thinking. So prioritizing the needs and experience of users when making decisions. And that has definitely been a pillar within our group from the beginning. We wanted to set the precedent and the mindset within agencies when we went to meet with them and talk about their content and what they should be doing to make it better, that they put the constituents' needs ahead of their own. And as we migrated from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8, it gave us an opportunity to examine our user base, which included our content editors and the constituents that visited the websites. And we actually hired a consulting company at that time. We were like, let's really get some real data behind what our content editors are experiencing, and if the constituent view can be examined as well. And they went all over the state. And we met with people all over the state. I think it was all remote, but we met with people from Athens to Savannah, interviewing constituents and our customers to find out what really makes for the best experience when when interacting with the government. So this taught us to consider that everyone at some point will have to interface with the government, whether you're getting something as innocuous as your driver's license. I know you hate it. It's weird too, in Georgia, it's called the Department of Driver Services here. It's not called the DMV. And one thing we saw is that when people moved here, they were Googling DMV, and they were getting sent to some DMV.org, not .gov, not affiliated with us, and they were just, feeding this ad farm, basically, going to this site that had scraped, information from our site and made it look like it was something that they were serving up. And so that experience is inconsistent with what we want our constituents to experience when they're visiting each of our sites. So that we saw there a need for like educating the public, or just making it very obvious that, this is how you can trust that this is a state of Georgia site. Like this is how you're in the right place. And like I said, it went from us it helped us understand that you could be going to the government for something as innocuous as a driver's license, but you could also be coming at a time of distress and reporting a loved one missing to the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So everyone is coming from a different place, and you want to try to make that experience as frictionless as possible, no matter what. So that's something that we learned from that, and it fortified our commitment to customer first decision making. Okay, so I guess we were a little bit ahead of the game with that part of the product mindset, is that we were always thinking about the constituency. But the listening tour also included our customers. So we gained a better understanding of their pain points. We learned that what they felt would make it easier for them to publish content and have that experience be better for them. Drupal 7, we gave them a lot of flexibility. Like, we let them do weird things with the content, and it was like, because we were, just kind of fielding requests from all over the place, and kind of just, the DOR wants this thing, and they'll throw a bunch of money at it, so we just got to do it. We didn't give them any pushback. And so we wanted to streamline the process a little bit, make it easier for the decision making of the content editor, remove some decision points, not make it so hard for them to know what type of content they need to be publishing at any given moment. So that's something that we took from that. So we definitely, looked at our content model, offered up a more select offering of content types and ways to publish content, and we think that it really helped our we know it really helped. We saw a decline in desk tickets being open or support tickets being open. People really felt more engaged with our team and wanted to learn more about GovHub and how to make their content the best they possibly could. So it was a really awesome learning experience. And what I'll say is, user-centric thinking helps decision-making by reducing the subjectivity of the stakeholders. So, developers are very opinionated. And then I have a boss who's very opinionated. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I'm from the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
And we're entering this whole debate here. How did you get all those agencies to go on board?
That's the question I get all the time. The question for the recording is, how did our team get the buy-in of the state agencies that are our customers? It took a lot of trust on their part, but also we did a lot of things from an outreach perspective. So we host a conference twice a year called Gov Talks, similar to this, where we invite the customers from our agencies to learn about GovHub, what we're doing, involve them in the road mapping of the product, and let them know, like, this is what we're doing for y'all. We're doing this accessibility overhaul. We're doing this auditing. We're, getting content strategies together. We're doing UI UX training. They come to the conference and they felt more involved in what they were doing each day using GovHub, and I think that helped build that trust with them. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about how we did that more for sure. But yeah, that's a great question. I get that a lot because people are like, what? They listen to you all? And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? But yeah, it was a process. It wasn't overnight. It took a while, but I think that all of the things that came out of this mindset helped with that. It made us look very professional and very polished and very official. You know, like we're called the Georgia Technology Authority, but we don't have like authority to go in and be like, you can't do that. Like they still had to, we had to build that trust. So yeah, it took time, and I got some techniques in here to help with that. But yeah, thank you for that question. So yeah, so like that was like, it takes, you know, all of, when you lead with customer-centric thinking and having that data be your guiding light, that can just be it, right? You don't have to listen, or I guess you don't have to, you can listen to, but you don't have to dwell on the opinions of everybody in the team. What is the best thing for the constituency? We have the data, let's go with that. And then if, you know, that turns out not to be the case, at least that's what we were leading with putting the constituency first. So again, that leads to another pillar of the product mindset, which is data-driven decision making, right? The product mindset encourages you to use analytics, usability, testing, and feedback loops that you create, and we'll talk about more of those later, to optimize your services. So a gap that we discovered when we were transitioning to this mindset, when we were building out GovHub and we were thinking about how to do things differently, is that we needed to change our approach to the feedback loop that we had with our customers. So at the time, we were fielding requests from, like I said, from people's personal email, or not personal, but their email inboxes that no one had any insight into. We also were using like our agency-wide ticketing system, and our agency offers all kinds of services, not just GovHub. So the people who were fielding those requests, they had no insight into GovHub and our team and how our team worked. So we knew we needed to bring that into our team and get it closer to us, and that would create a better experience for our customers, and create that feedback loop we needed, right? So we use Jira. Everybody's familiar with Jira. And we created our own support desk. And we used the service desk feature.
Now it's called
Service management feature of Jira to create this service desk, support desk, to link, and that allows us to have the traceability and to link our issues and our backlog directly to some customer feedback. Like, it's so much so that if we say that this ticket that we have in our backlog is blocking this desk request, as soon as we finish that ticket, it messages that desk ticket to say that it's unblocked. Now go and email the customer and let them know that this thing is fixed. Like, it just really enhanced our customer support, and I think that has done wonders for our product and how we interact with our customers. And another part of the product mindset is the continuous improvement. So rather than, like I said, launching a product or launching a service and just moving on, the nature of government products is that, right? We launch a service, and inherently it follows the traditional like waterfall methodology. Like, we do this chunk of it, then we can move to the next chunk, then we can move to the next chunk, and then we can get it out the door. Like, that's just kind of the nature of services. Like, we got to get this stuff lined up, and then get it out. So iterating on a service seems kind of unnatural almost, and in the government space, if you will. And so that's how we treated the platform. That's how we referred to as the platform at the time. So we also had like no regression testing. We didn't have any regression testing suites. Everything was manual. Like I said, I joined a team as a QA analyst, and I just had like a spreadsheet where I would go and make sure these things worked. That's crazy, right? This is a product that services 46 million visitors, that has all this visibility. There are revenue producing services that are linked to from these websites, and we got to make sure they are up at all times. So the pressure I had the nights of releases was insane. I was like, yo, we have to do something different. And luckily, my team was very open to getting some automated testing software. So then I learned Java and Selenium and wrote automated test scripts, and really grew my QA practice in that way. And I think that also fosters the product mindset fosters that, right? The opportunity for us to have the autonomy to make some decisions because we're really close to whatever that part of our expertise is. So it's like, okay, I'm on the team, I'm serving in this way. I think that this QA stuff could be better. And, you know, and that's what we did. We developed like automated test scripts, a regression suite so that I didn't have to do all this manual testing all the time to check these things to make sure that they worked. So it was great. We weren't just, you know, like I said, going through a checklist and doing those things and then one-time launches and then walking away. We were really thinking of our product really holistically and going in that direction. Let's see, where am I in my notes? Okay, all right. But because the product mindset approach entails ongoing iteration and testing and improvement, we knew the way we were working at the time wasn't really working. So again, we wanted to do what we could to provide the best experience for our customers and our constituency. So that is when we started implementing a more robust CI/CD pipeline. And I will give it to our technical architect here, Jenna. She's in the crowd. She was really instrumental in that and saying we need like better processes. We need like an actual tech stack. You know what I mean? Like we need like, you know, SLAs for our support desk, and we need these things to make us look more official, to make our sprints run more smoothly, to make our releases run more smoothly. So, you know, we did things like setting a strict sprint schedule, like we're doing every 2 weeks no matter what, and we got to get what we need to do is learn to maximize those 2 weeks, but we're sticking to that schedule so there's no surprises, and we can plan things, we can forecast things, we can iterate on these things, right? So we integrated tools like Jira and Bitbucket. Again, we are very heavy in the Atlassian family. We also use Confluence for our wiki, our repo, or excuse me, our documentation. Again, designing automated test suites and just being more intentional about how we prioritize our issues, which we'll also talk about in a minute. That was another thing. There was no prioritization prior to this. We were just, like I said, somebody called us, you know, especially like if it was the governor's office, we just had to do it. There was no like, you know, question as why is this good for the constituent? Just do it because they hold the cards, literally. But again, as a result, we began to see the need for more than just skilled developers on our team. And that's when our team really started to grow and take off. So that takes us to our next pillar of the product mindset, and that is cross-team collaboration. So a product mindset removes the silos between teams, right? And encourages that cross-functional teamwork to go from the start. Like we need to involve all the players from the start to make sure that whatever we're about to do is a success. So like previously I alluded to, you know, we kind of worked in like an ad hoc fashion. There weren't a whole lot of solid processes, but once we started to intake our own support desk tickets, once we started to get a lot of valuable insight from our customers and develop that CI/CD pipeline, our reach broadened. Like that's when we started getting just unsolicited feedback from customers. That's when we started learning like how much of an impact that we were making, and we really wanted to make sure that we captured all of that and, you know, examine how we were examine our effort into scaling GovHub. So, and like I mentioned, you know, instead of fielding all those requests from different email inboxes, we formed an outreach team, okay? Our outreach team is a, you know, single voice, you know, we have like a consistent brand voice, if you will. And so, and a single point of contact, right? Instead of everybody just emailing all of us randomly on the team, and I'm forgetting to tell somebody, and that person forgetting to say something, and then it's just a mess. We have one point of contact, one point of entry for everything. So that's our support desk. But also, if you are wanting to join GovHub, we had a point of contact, which is our outreach director. So yeah, formed the outreach team. And instead of solely relying on developers to come up with content strategies, because that's not everyone's strong suit. That's not everyone's ministry, okay? So developers, they have strengths, but content is probably not one of them. But if you are a unicorn and you can code and write awesome content, you're amazing. But we found that we needed help with that. And developers also, if you put that in their hands, they would have to go out and talk to the customers. And we know we don't want that, exactly. So we saw the need for content strategists, and that's what formed our content team. So now we have a content team, we have an outreach team, and we're starting to look real like official, you know what I mean? Like we're almost like a design agency within the state, right? And it was really exciting. It was really exciting what we were doing, and we were gaining steam and gaining notoriety around our agency, and apparently notoriety around the Drupal community with what we were doing with GovHub. So slowly our processes started to take shape and form from agency intake and onboarding to strategic content auditing and having an SLA-driven support for our agencies. That's a big thing. Like, it wasn't just a matter of setting up the support desk and just taking tickets. Like, we wanted to be able to offer a consistent experience when honoring those tickets, solving those tickets. Everyone get the same experience. So no, not hearing anything back for days. The SLA is 3 days, 3 business days, 3 8-hour chunks we have and to respond to your request. So just stuff like that. And the cross-team collaboration that started to take shape gave us the expertise to execute a roadmap. So now we're getting to the point where, like, okay, now we can start forming a roadmap because we have the expertise from content strategists that we can offer in this part of the roadmap of the onboarding experience. We have an outreach to handle all the communication with the customer, so there's not, short, very informal and mean messages from developers about, like, why are you doing this way? You're an idiot. We didn't want that experience with our customer, because it's like we say that under our breath when we get a ticket. We're like, well, why are they even doing that? Why are they even doing it that way? But we don't want our customers to hear that from us. So this really started us down the road of being able to scale GovHub and form a roadmap and start focusing on more than just outcomes, but actual. Start focusing on more than just deliverables and focusing on outcomes. Which leads us to our next pillar, which is focusing on outcomes and not just deliverables. So what does that mean? Product mindset forces you to ask questions to see if what you're doing is actually working towards providing the maximum value to your users. So are your customers actually using this feature that we built? Like I said, we like to solution in search of a problem. So this helps you not do that. Are the customers or the constituents actually finding the content that they need? So it was so funny. We had a project, and I'm not gonna call out the agency, but they were like, people were having a hard time finding how to make an appointment. So this was before they got on GovHub, okay? So we did not give them this advice. They were like, so we just put this big red button right in the middle of the content. And then we saw, they were able to find it. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a big red button amongst just like black and white text. Of course they're gonna be able to find it then, but maybe that wasn't the best approach to your content model, because then they get there and then what? There's no context really around this big red button. It's just like book an appointment. But then they book the appointment, and then there's a whole nother road that sends them down. Are you handling that road? Is it solving your problem of people not knowing how to make an appointment? I don't think it was. But we saw stuff like that all the time. It was like, let's just fix it with something flashy, which wasn't accessible. I don't think that button was accessible at all. It was red with white letters. So, yeah. Right. But And asking these questions can be achieved usually through user testing. Obviously, put your thing in front of a customer and watch them use it, and that will give you a lot of insight. We also did user testing for an agency who was building an app for people to pay their child support through, and we were like, "This is cool. Okay, I don't know if they asked for that. I don't think they want." A whole lot of ease in paying their child support is already like a daunting task, but okay, here's an app for you to be able to do it. You don't have to come down to the office and do it. But we put that app in the hands of actual people who were going into the office to pay their child support. And one of the gentlemen, I will never forget, you know how when you get your phone, it's brand new and it has like the sticker on it to tell you where's the power button and the volume button? This man still had that on his phone. The phone looked at least a year or two old. But he never took that off because I suppose it helped him in a way. It helped him, use his phone. But these are the people that you're asking to use a mobile app to pay their child support, okay? And the app was asking for all kind of information that you wouldn't readily have available, right? They were asking for what's your XYZ code or number or something like that. And they're like, I don't even know where I would find this piece of information. Like, what is this? I know my phone number, social security, address. Like, ask my last name. That's easy for me to sign up for this portal to be able to do what it is that you're asking me to do. But then when you ask them for things that they don't know from any other code that they get from any other service that they are using, that makes it creates a barrier, and then your app is useless. So using user testing, questionnaires, surveys, customer interviews, plain old observation, like I said, of someone using your feature will get you those questions as well, the answers to those questions. So, but now you have your answers. Then what? The next set of questions you need to ask are, how are we going to measure the success of this feature development? What metrics make sense to track, right? Look at whatever you're doing. What would constitute a success once we get to the end of this? And what value are you actually providing with this feature? Those are the questions you want to ask next. So focusing on outcomes prevents teams from engaging in the solution in search of a problem thing, and determine what the outcome of a project or feature should be before you build it, before you're going down that road. Like, what should the outcome be? That is going to help you build something or stop you from building something that no one asked for. Because maintenance is a consideration in all our decisions. Like, we're building this thing, we're going to have to maintain it. So let's make sure that people actually want it and that we are equipped to handle what comes from putting this out into the world. Whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze is what I like to say. And then lastly, the scalability and reusability. Features and services offered by governments are often let me take that back. They should be modular, reusable, and scalable across agencies. So when we were building GovHub, we looked at the feedback that we received, and we looked at the behaviors of our content editors and what they were doing and what they were asking for, and we narrowed it down to a set of reusable content types that they could use in different places across their site. But then, like I said, removing those barriers for publishing the content and those decision points and just making it very easy and scalable for us going forward. And although we've always been a multi-site Drupal setup, prior to the migration, we had a lot of flexibility, like I said, in creating the content and managing the sites and how we manage the content editors. So, and this resulted in a huge maintenance burden for our dev team and kind of a whack-a-mole scenario when trying to fix bugs and offer support. Like, we have to remember that DOR has this extra little flavor of something going on, and everyone had their own, not everyone, but a lot of the really big agencies who we had to kind of just do stuff for, we would give them some one-off thing and then have to remember to maintenance that and keep that working. So that just, making our product as reusable as possible definitely helped with that maintenance burden. And again, helped us be able to focus on scaling the product. So unlike a project mindset, which is focused on deadlines, deliverables, and completion, product mindset is about sustained impact, adaptability, and long-term growth. So our team evolved from just being the creative nerds down on the bottom floor. That's what I actually used to think of us, because we were like, we would build websites, and they were just like, you guys get to be the creative people in the tech space. And that's kind of how they saw us, but it evolved our team from being more than just that. And it evolved us into being the Office of Digital Services and Solutions. And all by adopting this mindset. So now we're gonna get into agile product development. This should go pretty quickly, because you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with that. But yes, like I said in the beginning, the slides are just pretty, and they're good for you to take pictures of. But I'm gonna talk a lot, so what I'm saying may not necessarily be up there, but yes. So now we can dive a little bit into the details of our process. So it starts with us obviously creating a backlog of JIRA issues, complete with acceptance criteria. I always harp on somebody should be able to walk off the street and read your JIRA ticket and know exactly why you made it and what you plan to achieve in it and what makes that ticket complete. What is the acceptance criteria for this ticket? So everyone knows, check all these things off and that ticket is complete. And I harp on this because apparently that is not like it can be like pulling teeth sometimes to get developers to put information in the ticket. And I've seen that be a struggle in some project groups I've worked on. And so I definitely want to harp on that. And that will help, I guess, from a private perspective, like if you're working with customers and you're working in the government space, they want to see that you delivered what you said you were going to deliver before I let this invoice go, right? And if you document all that in the tickets and you explain to them, this is what we're doing this sprint, there's no question. You've delivered on that. And so when it's time to pay that invoice, I know what you did. And I think that is extremely important. And it just helps with peer review. It helps with QA. It helps QA be able to ask the questions again, going back to asking questions. Like I said, what does it need in order for this issue to be considered complete? What are the testing constraints? What do I need to be testing? Like all of those conversations need to happen at the creation of the ticket through grooming, or is the word refinement now? Okay, I'm sorry. Through issue refinement and backlog refinement, you need to answer those questions. Have all of the information in the ticket. We would do this refinement internally first. So our team does it, just myself and our technical architect, and then we have another product owner for our design system, Orchard. She also does refinement internally with our lead architect and get all the details in the ticket before we take it to our dev partners. And with them, we refine it even more. The developers who are going to be working on these tickets ultimately get an opportunity to ask questions, understand what the work is to be done. And so there's no stone left unturned in those conversations. Everybody knows what to do. So when that ticket is assigned to that dev during sprint planning, which we're getting to now, they know what to do. We don't have to have that discussion again. You may have to have some discussions about how to get to that solution, like what are the best things we may need to do, have some sidebar conversations, but no one is confused on what the outcome of that ticket should be. Let's see. Yeah, so our lean team also optimizes sprint planning. And one thing that has we've started doing more recently are sprint retros. So every other sprint, we'll do a sprint retro, and it just let us know what we did in the past 2 sprints that we can improve on, what went well. I think it's very morale boosting, like it keeps the morale high. Like if something happened in a sprint and someone maybe feel bad about taking too long on a ticket or something like that, and it had to be rolled over to a next sprint, it's encouraging for us to get together and still congratulate each other for the work well done. And the sprint retros give us the opportunity to do that. But one thing that came out of our sprint retros was the need for a sprint planning checklist. That's one thing that came out, because we would get to sprint planning and do all these things. And, oh, we forgot to do this. Oh, we forgot to do that. And so we also wanted to take that time to really examine how much we were loading onto a sprint, right? Like, we have all these things we want to accomplish, but like, let's make sure we're not putting too much dip on our chip, okay? Let's make sure that we can actually get all of this work done in this sprint, because now I'm in the space as a product owner, like, I'm looking at burn down charts. I'm looking at velocity things. You know, I'm looking at things that I have to take back to leadership to show them why we need the money for all the hours for these sprints and the developers and things like that. So and they don't care about this, you know what I mean? Like, leadership, they want to just see some numbers. And so I have to examine those things and spell it out in a way to show the value. And, you know, making sure that we finish everything in a sprint is a very good metric to show them. So yeah, we got the sprint plan and checklist out of that. And one thing that we examined recently was our approach to prioritizing. So we use a flavor of the RICE prioritization method, but we call it PRICE. We put the P on the front for politics, because we're in government. And like I said, sometimes we just have to do it. Sometimes we have no choice. And so that politics comes into play, and we have to account for that when we're prioritizing our issues. But we learned that, like, we don't want to solely rely on the price score that comes out of that prioritization exercise. Like, we don't want to solely make decisions off of that. We will consider the price score, but we also need to weigh that against what our roadmap says we're trying to do, what it is that we're trying to get accomplished, and how much resources we have at the time to get things done. So price is good, our prioritization score is good, but we also use that as just one part of how we prioritize. And that's gonna be our interactive. You didn't hear interactive thing coming up very soon. But yeah, so like that is what came out of that. And then, you know, iterative development. Every time we deliver something, we iterate on it. We look at how it's performing. We're looking at what we should do next, whether or not the work that we did on that thing created follow-up tickets. Because a lot of times we'll work on something and we're like, and our developers are amazing, and they'll be like, you know what? I can improve this, but we don't have time this sprint, so let me make a follow-up ticket. So we'll look at that, and that helps us iterate and deliver the value that we're looking for. And then integrating that feedback loop in. So again, like I said, we look at the impact of the issues and their potential to block, you know, future features or block any of the things that we want to do to address our customers' concerns. So we have and I say I will say like the product development team, the developers. Like, we have our initiatives with the things that we want to do, things we want to see GovHub offer. But then we have to factor in, what is it that our customers are looking for us to offer, right? What are the things that they want to see in GovHub? And then also the business aspect, right? Because we are an agency that has to generate our own income, I will say that. So this is a service that we sell, and we want to treat it as such and treat it as something that we are trying to grow value in and for our customers. So next, constituent-driven roadmaps. So what is that? So we touched on this a little bit earlier on, like, the details of how we executed the product mindset and how it, you know, incorporated constituent-driven feedback and things like that, and how we use the product decision-making with real user needs, how we incorporated like their actual needs into our decision-making. But the question that you asked earlier, how did you get that feedback, or how did you get that that buy-in, right, from the customers? So we have an advisory committee that consists of our customer partners, so our agency content creators. And they have the unique perspective of the constituency that they serve at their agency, like the types of people that come to their site and what they're looking for and what they're looking to achieve. So that is how we get them to champion the needs of their constituency, because we're having these meetings with them and we're asking them to put that thinking cap on, right? Think from the perspective of your customers, not just what you want the website to do, right? Like, you don't want it to be bulldog red because you went to Georgia. Like, no, That is not what we're doing. This is a website for the people. That really happened. A commissioner wanted us to put Bulldog Red somewhere in his theme, and we were like, constituent first, man. What about Alabama fans like me? Okay. And so, you know, the role of that committee has been, you know, instrumental in, again, getting them to feel like they are part of the roadmap, getting them to feel like they are part of building GovHub. But then we also have an internal steering committee of the different folks that serve on the different parts of our team. So our product team, our outreach team, our content team, like each of those voices, because they offer a different perspective, right? Support desk is an outreach function. That's like up close and personal with our customers. They're sending tickets in. You're having those conversations in the tickets and getting insights from that. So having that perspective is key on our internal steering committee. The content team, they're very close with the content. Our content team also manages Georgia.gov. So they're constantly creating content, constantly improving on the display of the content on the site, making sure that when people come to Georgia.gov, they know what they're looking for and they can find it easily. What's the time, y'all? Give me, oh gosh. I've been talking a lot. We're not even halfway through. Okay, let me speed this up. All right. So yes, constituent-driven roadmaps. Following what you know is right for the constituency is always going to get you the best result. All right. We can skip the interactive segment, but so y'all got lucky. Okay, you guys got lucky. But essentially, it was going to be a scenario of prioritizing issues. So you're working on a new government portal to access benefits. You're going to review this list of features I was going to show. But this is the RICE method right here. So I just wanted to show you guys this. This is the method that we use, how many users are going to be impacted. And we look at it on a scale of GovHub. So how many of our GovHub users are going to be impacted by this thing? Impacted by the feature. The impact is, does it really solve the need? Is it like a usability thing that we're solving? Is it an accessibility thing that we're solving? The confidence is like how certain you are of those other metrics that you're going to deliver the largest impact. So the confidence in us is like, is this a bug? Okay, we really got to get on it because, of course, fixing a bug is going to be the most important thing. But then we have anecdotal insights from people just telling us like this would be better. That's cool. We'll prioritize that a little lower. That's just your opinion, which is fine. It's valid. It can be valid, but you know that ranks a little lower in the prioritization. And then of course the level of effort. We want to know how long it's going to take to do the thing. All right. So here's the feature list. If you want to like do this later, take this feature list and prioritize on what you think is the best way to go. All right, I got pictures. And if you want to connect with me, I'll send you the slide deck afterwards. So again, real quick, Drupal for the win. Some of the specific challenges that the government face are addressed by Drupal right out of the box. So there are a lot of strict regulatory requirements that the government have to go through. We are always under attack, especially in Georgia. Like they think we're the country Georgia, so we get extra attacked. Yeah, it's not fun. So, that's the thing that's always going to be an ongoing risk. Multi-agency access control. So like maybe not multi-agency for us, but that could be a situation in other government structures. And I'm learning that is a thing within the education space. Like there's all these different groups on campus that want their own identity and don't want to, but it's hard to manage, right? And then long cycles, like I was alluding to earlier, of vulnerability and the patching, because you just put that thing out there and leave it alone forever, and now it's a security risk for anyone that uses it. So Drupal has a lot of things built in, input sanitation, I got the acronym for that, cross-site request forgery protection, that's what that means. And role-based access control handles a lot of that. The granular permissions that you can set up for Drupal spaces, an active security team, the community, y'all are always on it. Y'all are always finding the security vulnerabilities and putting those patches out there. We thank you tremendously. And Gov-specific distributions like Drupal GovCon. It already comes pre-equipped to handle a lot of these things. And of course, there's a lot of partners, a lot of them that are here today that are ready with compliance-ready hosting. All right. Content management challenges. Again, multiple departments requiring autonomy. That is the thing that we experience a lot. And again, like I mentioned, experience in the education space. Ensuring compliance for accessibility and things like that. Auditing your the governance and the auditing of your content lifecycle. A lot of times there's extremely old content on these sites that just have to be up there because of some mandate. And so auditing that and keeping that on track, and the need for flexible content publishing crisis and I hate to run out of time because I have a story about COVID and how our platform was ready to address the needs of the Department of Public Health when they wanted to post a dashboard about the COVID numbers in our state and the stats, and we were ready to help them very quickly with our Drupal Gov Hub. But yeah, so take a picture. Those are the things. Those are the things that Drupal does for you for your content management challenges. And then for your data management challenges, I'm sorry if that's not like a really good contrast in the color there. But the need to share these open data sets while protecting the privacy of folks, integrating with legacy systems. We have a lot of agencies who have their own applications and they wanted to get the API connection so that we could just display information from their services on our websites. A lot of that stuff is ready to go with Drupal. A lot of out-of-the-box solutions and modules out there to support the content and the data management challenges and integrations that we see. All right, and bringing it all together, integration of security, content, and data management in GovHub is a testament to the benefits of adopting a product mindset. It really transformed our thinking and our team makeup, and it helped us grow. So by focusing on continuous improvement, we ensure that the security patches and threats modeling are part of our monthly sprint. Like we are, with Composer, always patching everything and updating our modules constantly. We're not letting any modules get out of date. No security over here. Security vulnerabilities over here. But that's a part of every time we sprint plan. We're looking at the Composer updates. What do we need to update? And constantly getting that support from our hosting partner about the security threats that we need to be on the lookout for. And our feedback and content analytics shape the content structure and allow us to iterate and grow and solve citizens' needs. And our accessibility auditing, we use SiteImprove to constantly monitor the accessibility of all of our sites and have it as a part of our product development lifecycle and not just like one-offs. And this holistic approach has helped us serve citizens better, faster, and more securely. All right, and in conclusion, Drupal's flexibility coupled with a product mindset empowers governments, teams to serve citizens better, faster, more securely. And I think that, GovHub has been revolutionary in my life, in Drupal, period. It's just a really awesome product to be able to offer to the constituents of Georgia. So I'm very proud of what I do. And these are the things. Take this picture. All right. Keys to take away with you. A product mindset helps teams build sustainable, scalable digital experiences. Delivering iterative value through agile sprints ensures constant improvement and user satisfaction. Well-structured governance model and user-driven feedback loops keep product development on track, and Drupal's flexibility and strong security makes it the best CMS for government digital platforms. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna get notes to pace myself, and it never works. All right, so if you guys want to stick around for questions or open discussions, please do. But I know I've taken a lot of your time. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being at DrupalCon. Thank you.